Smoke filled the air. The sky above Velkar Ridge was dark, not with night but with ash and burning ships. Explosions echoed through the mountains, shaking the ground. The enemy was closing in, and the Elvari forces were outnumbered. Lieutenant, Yalara gritted her teeth as she fired her pulse rifle from behind a broken wall. Her silver skin was streaked with dust and blood. Her long hair, once neatly braided, now hung loose and tangled. Around her, her squad fought hard, but hope was fading fast. "We can't hold this line much longer," shouted Sergeant Velk, ducking under enemy fire. Yalara didn't reply. She knew he was right. Their communications had been cut off. Backup wasn't coming, but she had orders to hold Velkar Ridge until the last breath. An explosion rocked the wall beside her. Debris flew everywhere. Yalara looked over to see one of her soldiers pinned under fallen metal. Without thinking, she ran through the open fire zone to pull him free. That's when it happened. A sharp whistling sound sliced through the air. An enemy missile hit just meters away from her. The blast lifted her off the ground and slammed her into the rocks. Pain exploded through her leg. She screamed as the bone cracked and twisted unnaturally. She hit the ground hard, the world spinning around her. Her weapon was gone, her vision blurred. But worse than the pain was the realization. She couldn't move her leg. It was broken, shattered beyond her people's fast healing ability. Her squad pulled her behind cover, yelling her name. She heard someone call for a medic, but in her heart she knew the truth. It was over. Hours later, the battlefield fell silent. The enemy had retreated, but the Elvari forces had paid a terrible price. Bodies lay still under the orange sky. The survivors were weak, wounded, and broken. A medical ship arrived to collect the injured. Yalara was loaded onto a stretcher, her leg bound in tight bandages. The medics avoided her eyes. They knew what a leg injury like this meant for an Elvari warrior. On their world, soldiers who lost limbs were honored but retired. There was no second chance, no mechanical limbs, no hybrid tech. It was tradition. Yalara lay still, watching the ship rise into the atmosphere. Her mind was quiet, her hope fading. She thought of the long halls of the Elvari capital, where she had once walked proudly in armor. That life was behind her now. The ship didn't go to her homeworld. Instead, it docked at a neutral space outpost, a shared medical center run by multiple species. It was simple, cold, and unfamiliar. Yalara was placed in a clean room with white lights and machines she didn't recognize. She didn't care. Let them treat the pain. Let them feed her. But she had no future. Not as a soldier. Not as herself. One day, as she stared blankly at the ceiling, a human doctor entered the room. He was tall, wearing a plain white coat, with short brown hair and a calm face. A data pad rested in his hand. "Lieutenant Yalara," he said, checking her file. "I'm Dr. Marcus Vell. I'll be handling your recovery." Yalara turned her head slowly. She had seen humans before, strong, strange, clever creatures. But she didn't trust them. Not yet. "Why?" she asked quietly. "Because I think I can help you walk again," he said, pulling up a chair beside her bed. She laughed bitterly. "My people say it cannot be done. A broken leg like this, there is no return." Dr. Vell smiled, not unkindly. "That's true. For your people. But humans do things differently. We rebuild, we adapt. Sometimes we even improve." She looked at him with sharp eyes. "You think you can fix me?" "No," he said softly. "I think you can fix you. I'll just help." Yalara stared at him, unsure whether to laugh again or believe him. The pain in her leg pulsed like fire. The fear in her chest burned even stronger. But in that moment, for the first time since the battlefield, something else flickered inside her. A small light. A spark of something she hadn't felt in days. Hope. The hospital on the outpost was unlike anything Yalara had ever seen. White walls gleamed under bright lights, and strange machines hummed quietly in every room. The air smelled of cleaning fluid and medicine. It was cold and unfamiliar. Nothing like the warm, rough barracks she was used to. Yalara lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling. Her leg was wrapped tightly and the pain still throbbed deep inside her. She thought about the battlefield, about her squad, about everything she had lost. A soft knock came at the door. Dr. Marcus Vell stepped inside, holding a small tablet. His calm eyes met hers. "Good morning, Lieutenant," he said gently. "How are you feeling today?" Yalara said nothing. She turned her head away, refusing to look at him. Marcus sighed softly. "I know this is hard, but I need to check your leg and explain what we will do next." She nodded slowly, expecting cold words, or pity. Instead, Marcus spoke with quiet confidence. "You're lucky to be alive," he said. "The injury is serious but not impossible to heal. Your body is strong, and the technology we have here is advanced. With time, you could walk again." Yalara's eyes widened. "Walk?" Her voice was a mixture of hope and disbelief. "But my people say that once a leg is broken like this, it cannot heal fully. They say I will never fight again." Marcus sat down beside her bed. "Your people have strong traditions," he said kindly. "But sometimes traditions don't keep up with technology. Humans have faced terrible injuries in many wars. We have learned to heal in ways others thought impossible." Yalara studied his face. He seemed honest, not like the cold doctors on her homeworld who gave up too soon. "I have a reputation," Marcus added with a small smile. "I don't give up easily. I've saved many soldiers who were told they would never recover." Yalara felt a flicker of curiosity. "How?" "By using new medical techniques, cybernetic implants, tissue regeneration, and physical therapy. It is a long process, but it works." She looked down at her leg, still wrapped in bandages. "I don't want to be a machine," she whispered. "You won't lose yourself," Marcus promised. "You will still be you. The goal is to help your body heal and grow stronger." For a long moment, Yalara said nothing. Then she whispered, "Can I trust you?" Marcus met her eyes firmly. "You can." Days passed and Marcus began the treatments. He explained each step before starting, answering Yalara's questions with patience. Sometimes other doctors argued with him. "It's too risky," one said. "Elvari biology does not respond well to human technology." Marcus shook his head. "If we do nothing, she loses her leg and her future. If we try, she might gain more than she lost." Yalara noticed the tension, but felt comforted that Marcus fought for her. One morning, Marcus brought a small, shining device. "This is the first step," he said. "It will help stimulate your muscles and nerves." Yalara flinched as the device was placed on her leg. A gentle pulse spread through the muscles, making them twitch. "It hurts," she said softly. "That means it's working," Marcus smiled. "Pain is part of healing." She closed her eyes, remembering the battlefield, the explosion, the fear. But now she felt something else, a strange strength, growing inside. The days turned into weeks. Yalara's leg slowly began to respond. The pain was still there, but less sharp. She learned to move her toes again. With Marcus's help, she started small exercises, lifting her leg, stretching the muscles. Other patients watched her with curiosity. Some whispered, "She's the broken warrior." Others said, "She's lucky to have the human doctor." Yalara felt their eyes but kept her head high. She was proud, but also afraid. What if she failed? What if she never walked again? One evening, Marcus sat beside her bed. "Tell me, Yalara, what do you want most?" "To fight again," she answered without hesitation. "To protect my people." Marcus nodded. "Good. Then fight you must. Not just with your body, but with your mind and spirit." She looked at him. "I don't know if I have the strength." He smiled warmly. "Strength comes from trying. Every day you choose to try." Yalara thought of the battlefield again. She remembered the faces of her squad. She felt a fierce fire growing in her heart. I will try, she said. One afternoon, the medical center's doors opened suddenly. A group of Elvari officers entered, their faces cold but curious. We heard about your treatment, the senior officer said, looking at Yalara. This is unorthodox. You risk dishonoring yourself and your people with these human methods. Yalara sat up straighter. I want to live. I want to fight again. If this is the way, then I accept it. The officer's eyes narrowed. You must understand. Not all will accept this. Marcus stepped forward calmly. Lieutenant Yalara is not just fighting for herself. She is fighting for her people's future. The officers left without another word. But the message was clear. Yalara was changing, not just in body but in ways her people did not yet understand. That night, as the stars shone outside the window, Yalara lay awake. She felt the gentle hum of the machine beside her bed. Her leg ached, but it no longer felt like the end. She whispered softly, "Thank you, Dr. Marcus." Yalara woke slowly, her mind still heavy from a restless sleep. The bright white lights above the hospital bed made her squint. Her leg ached sharply, the pain stronger than she expected. She tried to move it, but the heavy bandages stopped her. A soft beep sounded nearby and the door slid open. Dr. Marcus Vell stepped inside, carrying a small device. "Good morning, Lieutenant," he said gently. "Today, we begin a new stage of your treatment." Yalara frowned. "What kind of treatment?" Marcus smiled. "I want to implant a device in your leg. It will help your muscles and nerves heal faster." Her eyes widened. "Implant? You mean surgery?" "Yes," Marcus said, pulling a chair beside her. "It's the best way to help your leg recover. The device will connect with your nervous system and help your body rebuild the broken parts." Yalara swallowed hard. She had heard of these devices from stories, how humans use technology to replace lost limbs or repair damage. But for the Elvari, this was new. It felt strange and unnatural. "My people don't do this," she said quietly. "They say it changes who you are." Marcus nodded. "I understand. But sometimes change is needed to survive." Yalara looked away, her heart pounding. The fear of losing her leg, her future, and herself pressed down on her. Still, a small voice inside whispered, "What if this is the chance you've been waiting for?" Marcus waited patiently for her answer. "I will not do this without your permission," he said firmly. Yalara closed her eyes and thought of the battlefield, the burning sky, the explosion, the moment she fell. She thought of her squad, waiting for her to return, and of the long days of pain and hopelessness. Finally, she whispered, "Do it." The surgery was long. Yalara drifted between sleep and waking, feeling strange sensations, but no pain. When she woke fully, her leg felt heavy and numb. Marcus was there, smiling. "The implant went well. Now begins the real work, training your body to use it." Yalara tried to speak, but her throat was dry. Marcus handed her a water cup. As she drank, she looked at the machine beside her bed, a glowing, slender device connected to her leg. Over the next days, Marcus visited her every morning. He guided her through exercises, teaching her how to use the implant. "It's like learning to walk again," he said. "Your brain needs to relearn how to send signals to your leg." Yalara struggled. Sometimes the implant sent wrong signals, causing her leg to twitch or lock suddenly. Pain flared unexpectedly. Frustration filled her heart. "Why does it hurt so much?" she asked one day, tears in her eyes. "Because healing is not easy," Marcus answered softly. "But pain means your body is working to fix itself." Slowly, she began to trust the device. Small movements grew stronger. She could wiggle her toes, then bend her knee slightly. One afternoon, as she practiced, the door opened. A group of medical officers entered, looking serious. "We have received complaints," one said sharply. Lieutenant Yalara did not give full consent for this experimental procedure. Yalara sat up, surprised. She had agreed. What was this about? Marcus stood beside her. She agreed after full explanation. The officers exchanged looks. Still, the council demands the procedure be stopped immediately. Yalara felt panic rise. Stop? You want to undo it? Yes, the officer said coldly. The risks are too great. You must accept your condition as it is. Yalara's hands clenched into fists. No, she said firmly. I will not give up. Marcus stepped forward. Lieutenant Yalara has the right to choose her treatment. She is not a prisoner. If she wants to continue, we must support her. The officers hesitated, but finally nodded. They left the room quietly. That night, Yalara lay awake, her leg buzzing softly with the implant's pulse. She thought about the officer's words and her own fear. Was she risking too much? Would she lose herself in this strange new technology? But then she remembered Marcus's calm voice, his belief in her strength. She whispered to the dark room, I will fight this, not just for my leg, but for my future. Days passed and Yalara's progress grew. The implant helped her leg grow stronger, but the true test was her spirit. She fought the pain, the fear, and the doubt. Marcus introduced new exercises, walking with support, standing, balancing. Each small victory made her smile. You're doing well, he said one morning. Soon, you will walk on your own. Yalara looked at him. I want to fight again. And you will, Marcus promised. Stronger than before. One afternoon, Yalara practiced walking with a walker. Each step was painful but full of determination. As she moved down the hallway, other patients and staff stopped to watch. Some whispered in amazement, the broken soldier walks. Others looked doubtful. But Yalara didn't care. She felt a fierce pride growing inside her. When she returned to her room, Marcus was waiting. You inspire more than just me, he said. You show what hope can do. Yalara smiled, feeling a warmth she had not known since the battlefield. That night, as the stars shone outside, Yalara closed her eyes. The road ahead was long and hard, but she was no longer afraid. She had a chance to heal, a chance to fight again. And this time, she would not lose hope, and for the first time since the battlefield, she felt hope. The days that followed were hard for Yalara. Each morning, she woke to the sharp ache in her broken leg. The cybernetic implant inside her pulsed gently, sending electric signals that sometimes felt like fire shooting through her nerves. But the pain was not only in her body. It lived in her heart. At night, when the lights dimmed and the hospital grew quiet, Yalara's mind wandered back to the battlefield. She remembered the blast the moment her leg shattered, and the look in her squad mates' eyes when they thought she would never return. She hated feeling weak. She hated the way the implant made her different from other Elvari warriors. Why? Do you still fight? Marcus asked one day as she struggled to move her leg. Yalara looked away. Because if I stop, then I am nothing. Just a broken shadow of who I was. Marcus nodded slowly. Pain is part of healing, but so is pride. You carry both now. Yalara swallowed hard. She wanted to believe him. Phantom pain haunted her. The strange feeling that her leg was being crushed or burned even when it wasn't. Sometimes the implant's signals became confusing, causing her leg to twitch without control. She flinched when the pain came, but she didn't give up. Marcus introduced new exercises, slow, careful movements designed to train her brain and body together. Your nervous system is learning, he explained. It's like teaching a child to walk again. It's frustrating, but it works. Yalara's muscles began to grow stronger and the twitching lessened. But the hardest challenge was the fear. She feared she would never be whole again. She feared she would lose her place in her world. One afternoon, Marcus brought visitors to the hospital room. They were Elvari soldiers, her old comrades. Yalara's heart pounded as they entered. They looked at her quietly, eyes filled with a mixture of respect and sadness. We heard you were alive, one said softly. But you are not the same. Yalara met their gaze. I'm still me, she said firmly. I'm healing. I'm fighting. The soldiers exchanged looks. One spoke carefully. Your people say that those who are changed by technology are no longer warriors. You risk dishonor. Yalara's fists clenched. I risk nothing. I have lost much, but not my spirit. Marcus stood beside her, silent but steady. The soldiers nodded slowly. Then we will wait and see. That night, Yalara sat alone by the window, watching the stars. The weight of judgment from her people felt heavy. She whispered to the dark room. I am not less. I am more. The implant hummed softly inside her leg, a quiet reminder that she was different, but also alive. As the weeks passed, Yalara's progress surprised many. She learned to walk short distances with support. Her steps became steadier, more confident. Marcus watched her with pride. You're doing better than I expected. Yalara smiled weakly. It's because I have to. One morning, Marcus brought a special suit, a flexible exoskeleton designed to support her movements and reduce pain. This will help you train, he said. It works with the implant to make walking easier. Yalara put on the suit carefully. It felt strange, like wearing a second skin made of metal and circuits. She took her first steps in the suit, each one easier than before. A feeling of joy rose inside her. During physical therapy sessions, Yalara pushed herself hard. She wanted to prove she was not broken. Other patients watched in awe as she walked, then ran short distances. Some cheered quietly. Others whispered, "The human doctor's work is a miracle," but not everyone was happy. Some Ilvari officers visited and warned her again about the risks of this new technology. They said it could change her forever. Yalara stood tall. I choose to change, because I want to live, because I want to fight. One evening, Marcus found Yalara sitting quietly in her room, tears in her eyes. Why are you crying? He asked gently. Because I am scared, she said. Scared that I won't be accepted, that I'm losing who I was. Marcus sat beside her. You are not losing yourself. You are growing. Being accepted takes time. But those who matter will see your strength. Yalara wiped her tears. I want to believe that, Marcus smiled. You will, I believe in you. The next day, Yalara walked unaided down the hospital hallway for the first time. Her steps were careful but strong. People stopped and watched. Some clapped softly. Yalara felt a surge of pride. She had taken a step, not just forward, but toward a new life. When she reached the end of the hall, Marcus was waiting with a proud smile. You did it, he said. Yalara looked down at her leg, the cybernetic implant shining under her skin. I did, she whispered. That night, as she lay in bed, Yalara felt the phantom pain return, but it was different now. Softer, less fierce. She smiled to herself. Pain could not stop her. Fear could not hold her back. She was healing. She was changing, and most of all, she was still fighting. The sun streamed through the window of the medical ward, casting warm light on Lieutenant Yalara's face. Today was a special day. After weeks of struggle and pain, she was finally ready to take her first steps without support. Her cybernetic leg, a blend of advanced human technology and Elvari biology, was still strange to her touch. But it was hers now, a part of her body, a symbol of her new strength. Marcus stood beside her, calm and encouraging. Remember, take it slow. Trust your leg. Yalara nodded, swallowing the nervous lump in her throat. She rose from the bed carefully, feeling the weight of the suit. That helped support her movements. It felt heavy but steady. One step, then another. Her leg moved forward, not perfectly smooth, but real. She took another step, then another, gaining balance. Marcus smiled. That's it. You're doing great. Word had spread throughout the outpost. Yalara, the Elvari warrior who was once broken on the battlefield, was walking again. Some saw her as a miracle. Others whispered doubts. Her fellow soldiers visited, some with smiles, others with guarded looks. A few said quietly, "She's brave, but she's changed. She's no longer fully Elvari." Yalara heard their words but tried not to let them reach her heart. She had fought too hard to give up now. One afternoon, as she practiced walking in the rehabilitation hall, a small group of Elvari officers arrived. Their faces were serious, eyes sharp. "Lieutenant Yalara," the lead officer said, "we have come to discuss your future." Yalara stopped walking and faced them. "I am ready." The officer nodded slowly. "Your recovery is remarkable, but there are concerns. Your cybernetic leg, some see it as a sign you are no longer part of our people." Yalara's heart pounded. "I am still Elvari," she said, firmly. "My leg is different, yes, but my spirit is the same." The officers exchanged looks. "It is not that simple. Tradition guides us. Those who change too much may lose their place." Yalara clenched her fists, but kept her voice steady. "If tradition mia, tasa losing hope and giving up, then I choose to change." Marcus stepped forward. "Lieutenant Yalara is a symbol of strength and resilience. She shows what happens when we embrace new paths." The officers left quietly, but their words stayed with Yalara. That evening, Yalara sat alone in her room, staring at her cybernetic leg. She felt torn between two worlds, the Elvari she was born into, and the new person she was becoming. She whispered to herself, "Am I still who I was? Or am I something new?" Her mind raced with doubts. Would her people accept her? Would she ever truly belong again? Marcus entered quietly, sensing her struggle. "Yalara," he said gently, "change is not losing yourself. It's becoming more than you were." She looked up, eyes shining with unshed tears. "But what if I lose everything? My honor, my place, my family?" Marcus smiled kindly. "You have not lost those things, you have earned new ones. Honor is not only tradition, it is courage, sacrifice, and heart. You have all of those." Yalara took a deep breath. "I want to believe that." Days turned into weeks. Yalara continued to train, her leg growing stronger and more responsive. She walked without support more often and even started simple runs in the simulation room. Her confidence grew, but so did the challenges. Some soldiers looked at her with admiration, others with doubt. One day, a young Elvari soldier approached her. "Lieutenant," he said nervously, "I admire your strength. But some of us wonder, are you still one of us?" Yalara looked him in the eye. "I am. I fight for all of us. That is what makes me Elvari." The soldier smiled, relief and respect shining in his eyes. Then came the hardest moment. The Elvari High Command called a meeting. Yalara was invited to speak before the council. She would have to face the leaders of her people and explain her new path. The night before the meeting, Yalara paced her room. Doubts gnawed at her. What if they reject me? She wondered. What if I lose everything? Marcus found her and placed a hand on her shoulder. You are ready. Speak from your heart. The next day, Yalara stood before the council. Faces filled the grand hall, all watching her. She took a deep breath. I am not the same warrior I was, she said clearly. My leg is different, but my heart is unchanged. I fight because I love my people, because I believe in our future. She told them about her pain, her hope, and the help she received from the human doctors. She spoke of courage, not just on the battlefield, but in healing. The council listened in silence. After she finished, the leader spoke. Your journey is difficult, Lieutenant, but your spirit shines. We will consider how to move forward. Yalara left the hall unsure but proud. She had stood strong. She had spoken her truth. That night, as she looked at the stars, she whispered, I will keep walking, no matter what. She was no longer just a soldier who had lost her leg. She was a symbol, a new kind of warrior, and this was only the beginning. The quiet of the medical outpost shattered one morning when urgent messages flashed across every screen. Refugee ships in the nearby orbit were under attack. Pirates had launched a surprise strike and thousands of innocent civilians were in danger. The military scrambled to respond. Special forces were called to action, but many soldiers were still recovering from recent battles. The situation was desperate. Yalara stood in the training room, working on her balance exercises, when the call came through. Her heart raced. "Lieutenant, Yalara," Marcus said softly, "there's a mission forming. They need every capable soldier." Yalara looked up, determination shining in her eyes. "I'm ready." Marcus hesitated. "Are you sure? It will be dangerous." "I have waited too long," Yalara said firmly. "I want to fight again, not as a wounded soldier, but as a warrior." The command center buzzed with activity as Yalara joined the briefing. The leader outlined the mission: defend the refugee ships from the pirate attack, secure safe passage, and protect the innocent. Yalara listened carefully. Her cybernetic leg, once a weakness, now felt like a powerful tool. The implant worked smoothly with her body, giving her strength and speed beyond what she expected. She was given a new uniform fitted to accommodate her cybernetic limb, a symbol of her new role. As the team prepared to board their ships, Yalara's old squadmates approached. Some looked surprised, others skeptical. "Are you really ready?" one asked quietly. Yalara smiled. "More than ever." Marcus gave her a nod of encouragement. "You've come far. Trust yourself." The mission began in space, with ships launching toward the refugee convoy. The pirates' attack was fierce. Laser blasts lit the dark sky, and explosions rocked the ships. Yalara felt the familiar rush of adrenaline. She moved with precision and speed, her cybernetic leg allowing quick dodges and powerful jumps. When enemy fighters tried to board one of the refugee ships, Yalara was among the first to respond. She led a team to push the invaders back, fighting fiercely with her squad. During the battle, her leg's advanced sensors alerted her to a hidden enemy preparing an ambush. She warned her team just in time, saving many lives. Her strength and quick thinking earned respect from her fellow soldiers. They saw not a broken warrior, but a leader reborn. After hours of fighting, the pirates retreated. The refugee ships were safe. Yalara stood on the deck of her ship, breathing heavily but proud. Her legs still ached, but she felt whole. Marcus joined her. "You did well. Better than I expected." Yalara smiled. "I couldn't have done it without your help." Marcus shook his head. "You did it yourself." News of Yalara's success spread quickly. Her story inspired many, showing that even after great loss, humans and Elvari alike could rise stronger. The Elvari High Command began discussions to form a special unit combining human medical tech and Elvari warriors, a new force built on strength and hope. Yalara was invited to help train new soldiers, a role she accepted proudly. One evening, as she walked through the outpost corridors, soldiers approached her with respect and smiles. The doubts and whispers were fading. Yalara paused by a window, looking out at the stars. She thought of the battlefield, the pain, the long journey to recovery. A soft voice inside her said, "This is only the beginning." The outpost was alive with activity. Soldiers, engineers, and doctors moved quickly, preparing for a new era. The success of the recent mission had changed many minds, and a new program was about to begin. Lieutenant Yalara stood before a group of young recruits, their eyes full of hope and curiosity. They listened closely as she spoke about strength, courage, and the power of change. "I was once broken," Yalara told them. "But with help, I found a way to rise again. You too can find strength in unexpected places." Her cybernetic leg gleamed under the bright lights, a symbol of resilience and progress. The Elvari High Command had decided to create a joint training program. Human medics and engineers would work with Elvari soldiers to develop better medical technology and training techniques. Yalara was chosen as the first officer to lead this new unit. She felt proud, but also aware of the challenges ahead. Not everyone welcomed change easily. One day, Marcus visited Yalara at the training center. You have come a long way, he said with a smile. How do you feel? Yalara looked at him, her eyes shining. Stronger, not just in body, but in spirit. Marcus nodded. That's the true victory. They walked together through the halls where soldiers trained, their footsteps echoing. News of the joint program spread quickly throughout the galaxy. Many species showed interest in learning from the Elvari-human collaboration. Yalara's story became a symbol, not just of healing but of unity. Despite the progress, some voices still spoke against the changes. Traditionalists worried about losing culture and identity. But Yalara faced them with calm confidence. Change does not mean forgetting, she told them. It means growing stronger together. Her words touched many hearts. As months passed, the new unit trained and prepared for future challenges. Yalara grew into her role as a leader, respected and admired by many. She often thought back to the battlefield where her journey began, the place where her leg was broken and her hope was lost. But she no longer felt broken. She was whole. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the outpost, Yalara stood alone outside. The stars sparkled above like distant fires. Marcus joined her silently. Look at how far you've come, he said softly. Yalara smiled. I couldn't have done it alone. Marcus shrugged. You taught me as much as I taught you. They stood side by side, two different species bound by respect and hope. In the distance, the outpost buzzed with life, a place where old wounds were healed and new beginnings were born. Yalara took a deep breath. Her cybernetic leg felt light beneath her. She took a step forward, and then another. She was ready for whatever the future held, because she was no longer just a soldier. She was a new standard, a symbol of hope, a human and Elvari united, together, unstoppable.